during the first 9 weeks of school. Now, again, this is review. So it should be, oh, I remember this. Oh, this is familiar. But if it's still difficult, then you have to ask questions. You have to speak up for yourself, okay? So let's go ahead and talk about what this is. So Emily already told us y equals mx plus b. This formula is a formula that you have to have ingrained into your brain. Y equals mx plus b. Hopefully that sounds familiar to every single person in here. Oh. So hopefully this sounds familiar to every single person. It should not be new unless you didn't do anything in the first 9 weeks, and probably it is a little new, okay? What does M stand for? Slope. M stands for slope. Now, people on Zoom, I posted this exact document on Canvas, so you could print it out if you want to take notes, or you can just use your screen. Now, on a graph, we have to remember the difference between a positive and negative slope. So if my graph looked like this, is this slope positive or negative? It's positive because this line is going up from left to right. Okay, this is a positive slope. Think about it like if you were going skiing. I'm positively going up. I'm going up a positive slope. I'm going up the slope. Okay, good morning. And I'm walking up this hill, right? I read left to right. I also read graphs left to right. So because this is increasing from left to right, this is a positive slope. So if you don't know that, then just quickly draw something on the side here. This would be a positive slope.
How do you know it's going from left to right?
So you read from left to right, so also read graphs from left to right. So if I'm looking at this line left to right, it's going up this way.
Oh.
Yes, sorry. So Carolina, can you see without your glasses or no? Kind of see. So then if I had my graph and it went down like this, that's a negative slope. It's going down from left to right. It's decreasing. I would be falling down this hill. I would be going down a negative slope. So this is decreasing. This is decreasing. So therefore this slope is negative. I need you to know this. And then remember, as I always say, if you're just waiting to copy me, so you tune me out while I talk and then you see me write something and then you copy real quick, you're not learning crap, okay? You have to make sure you're actually engaging as well. Okay, so that's a positive slope. That's a negative slope. We need to know the difference. What does capital B stand for? It is the constant, but what does it stand for like in a graph? The Y-intercept. So the B represents the Y-intercept.
No.
So the B represents the Y-intercept. The B represents the Y-intercept. So on a graph, that's where the line crosses the Y-axis. This is where the line crosses the Y-axis. How do people mess this up? They look at where it crosses the X-axis. No, it's where the Y intercepts, so it's the Y-axis. Okay, so this is just information that we should have already known, okay, but we're just reviewing it real quick. So the question is, how do I find my slope? Well, it's rise over run, rise over run, rise over run. Rising is my change in Y over run, which is my change in X. The Y-intercept is where the graph crosses the Y-axis. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at 5 different graphs, figure out the slope and Y-intercept of all of them, okay? That's all we're doing. All right, so looking at this graph, I want everyone to make a mental note. Don't say it out loud. Make a mental note. Is that slope positive or negative? Make a mental note. Is that slope positive or negative? I need everyone to think about it. Everyone to think about it. Okay, is this slope positive or negative? Positive. This line is going up from left to right. This is increasing. Okay, this is going up. So my slope is negative. I mean positive. Yes.
If it's like facing like this, it's positive, and if it's facing like this, it's negative.
Perfect. I actually like how you did that with two different arms. So positive, negative, positive, negative. Yes. So this line is going up. If I was walking on top of this line, I'm walking, I'm going up a hill. Okay, that's how I always think about it. All right, so my slope is positive. My slope is positive. Okay. And then I always like to look at my scale. My scale. What's my x-axis and y-axis going by? Ones. So they're all going by ones. Ones. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all going by one. So this makes it a little easier. So next thing I like to look at my y-intercept. Where does it cross the y-axis? -5. Bam. And always mark it up. Mark up your when I finish a test, man, my test is like marked up to the max. There's stuff on everything because I like to do the most so I can get the good grade. So B equals -5. My y-intercept is -5. Now let's figure out our slope. This is the part that for some reason this year it just has not like clicked for everybody. So I'm trying to figure out the rate a change of my line. I'm trying to figure out the slope, the steepness. I'm trying to measure the steepness of my line. And to do that, I need to figure out its rise over run. So all I need is 2 points on my line. 2 points. So pick random 2 points on your line. It does not even have to be my 2 points because it's on the same line. It doesn't matter where your points are. So I'm going to pick these 2 points. Remember, a point is where it's like perfectly in that cross section. So I'm just going to mark all the points actually. So I'm going to mark all these points on the graph. I don't need you to do that. I'm just doing that so you can check to see if your point is a point. Okay, and from the 2 points, I'm looking up how much is it rising over how much it's running. So I make a right triangle. My rise over run. I make a right triangle. My rise over run. How much am I rising? 1. And how much am I running? 2. So my rise over run is 1/2. 1 over 2. So the equation of my line would be y equals mx plus b. So y equals 1/2 x minus 5. Because my slope is 1/2 and my y-intercept is -5. Does this sound familiar to everybody? I hope so. Yes.
Like this is big random.
Yep. Let's say I chose these 2 points instead. Did my rise over run? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 over 6 is 1/2. That will reduce into 1/2. So it doesn't matter which 2 points you choose, they'll have the same slope because on the same line. Yes, ma'am?
Why would it be the -5 and not the 10 on the
Because this is the x-axis. So the B is the y-intercept, so it's on the y-axis. Good question. And that's like one of the main mistakes people make. They're like, wait, why not this on the x because it's only asking for the y-intercept. Y-intercept.
Wait, so is that a 3 or a 6?
It's 3/6.
Oh.
Caroline, do you want to maybe move here? Maybe that will help your vision. And my nails keep breaking. All right, let's try another one. All right, so I'm gonna do this graph right here. This first one, I think it's on the back of y'all's paper. All right, for this top left-hand one, is the slope positive or negative? Negative. This line is going down from left to right, so my slope is negative. So this line is going down from left to right, so my slope is negative. What is the y-intercept? 2. It crosses the y-axis. This is my y-axis. It crosses the y-axis at positive 2. So b equals 2. What is the scale? What is my x-axis and y-axis going by? 1. And if you're wondering what I mean by scale, I'm just saying, what is each tick mark worth? 1, 2, 3. It's going by ones. 1, 2, 3. So now I want to find my actual slope. So I need 2 points on my line. So I can just use the y-intercept, and then I'm going to use this point right here. You can use any point on the line, any point. So to find my slope, it's rise over run. Rise over run. And I think that's also people flip them. So I'm trying to figure out a way to help you understand it's rise over run. I'm not sure yet though. So if I make a right triangle between 2 points, doesn't matter if your triangle's on top or bottom. How much am I rising? 2. How much am I running? 3. So my rise over run is 2/3, but my slope is negative, so that's negative 2/3. I'm gonna do another one just so everyone can see. It doesn't matter what points you choose. Make a right triangle between the points. One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. 4/6. So negative 4/6 reduces into negative 2/3. So no matter what points you choose, and then some of you are probably like, wait a minute, I want to draw my triangle on top. It doesn't matter. Rising 2, running 3, doesn't matter. Your slope will still be negative 2/3. Okay, so I'm just doing it like 1,000 times. I don't need you to do that. I was just doing it so you can see multiple times. Yes, ma'am.
So you just did like 4/6. How, I don't understand, like, would 2/3 be like the answer, and like for the rest of them, like another one, 2/3 would come out?
Yes, so 4/6 reduces into 2/3 because like Both 2 goes into both 4 and 6. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So it would reduce into the same fraction.
So like if you were to do 2/3 and you did 4/6 first.
And then you still have to reduce it. So if your fraction can reduce it all the way. So like if I like, so it doesn't matter. Like let's say I did these 2 points first. Like this is what I did first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I did this first, I would not just leave it as -6/9 because I know that number reduces because 6 and 9, 3 goes into both of them. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So my slope is -2/3.
So how is it
So that goes back to like just reducing how to reduce fractions. So what I'll do is I'll do the higher thing and I'll show you how to reduce every time. Okay. So my slope is -2/3 and my y-intercept is 2. So my equation, remember my equation is in the form of y equals mx plus b. So my equation is y equals -2/3 because that's my slope, x plus 2 because that's my y-intercept. So the y-intercept is 2. And the slope is -2/3. That's what we found. Yes, sir.
For the second to last one,
Mm-hmm.
on that one, isn't that the right, like I mean the right, isn't it 5?
This one right here?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. You're welcome. All right, let's look at this top right-hand graph. Let's look at this top right-hand graph. If you're already ahead of me, I am totally fine with that, okay? That I do not mind if you feel confident with this, okay? But I'm gonna go slow because I want everyone to grasp this concept. I want everyone to understand. So on this top right-hand graph, is my slope positive or negative? Positive. So my slope is positive. Because this line is increasing from left to right. It's going up from left to right. And I like what Alara did with her left arm for positive and like the right arm going down was negative. I like that. Okay, what is the y-intercept? -4, beautiful. Hits the y-axis at -4, so b equals -4. But this time, what is our x and our y-axis going by? 2. Okay, so when we do our little bunny hops, we have to count by 2s. So find 2 points on your graph. I'm gonna find 2 points that are very far away, just so I can like show about reducing fractions and stuff like that. So I'm choosing these 2 points. Again, it doesn't matter what point you choose. It's the same line, so this should have the same slope, same amount of steepness. So the 2 points I chose, if I do my rise over my run, and remember, it's going by 2, so I'm counting 2, 4. So this is rising by 4 and running by 2, 4, 6, 8. And that can reduce even more too. So my slope, my rise over run, based on my rise over run, it would be what? Okay, for yours it was 2, 4. So for me it's 4/8. Okay, so mine is 4/8. But this reduces. And how, you might ask yourself, how do you know that reduces? Well, 4 and 8 are both even numbers. That's how I think of it in my head. They're both even. And 2, they're both divisible by 2. Well, actually, 4 and 8 are both divisible by 4, right? 4 goes into 4 and 4 goes into 8. So since they're both divisible by 4, 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So my fraction reduces into 1/2. My fraction reduces into 1/2. So my slope is 1/2. Is the reducing part still?
Yeah, I'm kind of. Because I have 2/4 because like mine.
2/4, and you know that 2/4 is 1/2, because 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. Or what you could do is in your calculator just do 2 divided by 4, and that will give you 0.5, which is also 1/2.
4/8, 4 divided by 8.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So that makes more sense.
Okay. So then my equation y equals mx plus b. My equation would be y equals 1/2 x minus 4, because the y-intercept is -4. Now, also make sure we understand, I could write it like this. Y equals -4 plus 1/2 x. That's the same thing. I just switched the two numbers. The slope is always multiplied to x, so 1/2 x is still the slope. 1/2 is still the slope. -4 is all by itself, so that's still the y-intercept, okay? So just because I switched them doesn't mean anything. It's the same exact numbers. Okay, go ahead and try that bottom left-hand graph on your own. Where it says graph it yourself, don't worry about that. Oops. Good question. So the x-axis is going by 5s and the y-axis is going by 2s. So when you're rising, you're going to count by 2s, but when you're running, you're going to count by 5s. So everyone gets an answer before I do this.
You said rising count by 2 and
Mhm.
That's my equation for the y, mx plus b is y equals 2 times x plus 5. 2.
Okay, I think it's 4/5 though. I think it's 4/5, but beautiful. Because it should be going 2 bunny hops, and so the y-axis is going by 2, so it'd be 2, 4, and over 5. So you'll see when I do it. All right, on this one, what's the y-intercept? 2, crosses the y-axis at 2. And just like everyone was saying, the y-axis is going by 2s, but the x-axis is going by 5s. So when I'm doing my rise over run, let me make my right triangle, I have to keep that in mind. This is going by 2s, so it'll be 2, 4. Okay, because this goes from 2 to 6. So this is a change in y of 4, and it's running by 5. Is my slope positive or negative? Negative. So my slope would be negative 4/5. My y-intercept is positive 2. So my equation would be y equals negative 4/5 x plus 2. Y equals negative 4/5 x plus 2.
It's because I did it like to the where the b equals 2. I did like that.
From here, like this? Okay, so it would still be the same thing though. So it's still rising 2, 4, and it's still running 5.
It's because I went to 4 because I didn't do it long.
Oh, okay. I feel you. I see. Okay. All right. So this last graph, I don't think I'll make you do anything. Actually, let's just go ahead because I think this helps solidify it. Right above this graph, I want you to write y equals 1/2 x minus 3. Y equals 1/2 x minus 3. What in that equation, which number represents the y-intercept? -3. This -3 represents the y-intercept. So what I can do right now is plot a point at -3 on the y-axis. So I'm going to plot a point at -3 on the y-axis because the y-intercept is -3. So I know that this graph is going to go through -3 on the y-axis. So I really like to color code, so I did not mean to do that. Okay, so my y-intercept was -3, so I plotted my point at -3. Now my slope is what? 1/2. So if my slope is 1/2, my rise over run is also 1/2, right? So from the y-intercept, I'm going to rise 1 and run 2. So from this point, I'm going to rise up 1 because this is a positive slope. So I'm going to rise up 1 and run 2. That tells me where my next point is. And I'm going to just keep doing that. Rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. And I think when you do that, when you graph it yourself, the rise over run starts making a little bit more sense. Rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. Rise 1. You don't have to do it the other way. You can just start connecting the points. Okay, that line's pretty straight. Okay, so doing your rise over your run, you can graph a line yourself. Rise 1, run 2. Okay, give me some feedback. Do we feel more confident with slope and y-intercept? Okay. Because I can't